Afternoon, everybody. Today I'm going to be making the pants to the top. I did finish the top last night. I got my buttons on. And it's right here. I got my buttons on. And it was a little bit too big in here on the sides. So what I did is I took an inch all along my sleeve and around my armhole and down, and right before my my cuff where it all gathers. Let me see if I can get this unhooked so I can show you. I came in kind of like a half V. Let me see, there, okay. So what I did is I kept this all normal, but then I came up, where's my seam? Over here, okay. So I came up and I just kind of did a V, like going this way and then taking up an inch. So from my seam, okay, right here, what I did is I took a little ruler, and where I still had some of my material left, you know, my seam allowance, I just measured an inch from the edge of my shirt seam, and then I did an inch all the way around, and it fits perfect now. So there it is. So if you have a problem with it, just like, you know, too baggy right here, just start from, you know, like an inch away from the ruffling part of your sleeve and go up that whole seam, come around and down about an inch. So that solved that problem. Okay, I have to cut out my material. I am using this cotton blue, which I think is going to be really nice. And it looks like blue jean type material. It's not as heavy, but I think that'd just be a really nice outfit to wear going out to supper or whatever, shopping, I don't know. But let me get all this cut out. I'm going to be making a size 8. These are essentially almost like making pajama pants. You're just going to have a button on the bottom, and you have the elastic waist, and the smallest size this comes in is 8. So I wear a 6 in store-bought clothing, but you can't go by that. It's a totally different sizing. So I'm just gonna do their smallest, and we'll see. I know I'm probably gonna have to shorten, because I'm only 5'3", 5'4". I know I'm gonna have to shorten it. So I'm gonna put the pattern up to me and get that set, so when I have to do the buttonholes, I'm gonna be okay. All right, so this is going to take 1 1/8 yards of 1 inch wide elastic. So you need elastic. You're gonna need some buttons, 2 buttons. And yeah, that's about it. So they have these like kind of above your ankle like this. I'm thinking I'm gonna make them down a little bit further, just, that's me, my style. But we'll get going on this. And let me get everything set up, and then we'll get sewing. Evening, everybody. We're gonna start the pants. So we need piece 8 and 9, and we have to sew them at the inner leg. That's the back. I'm gonna put my safety pin in my front pants pieces. These are my back. And that's just a good way to keep your pieces straightened out. Okay. And keep your patterns out, as we're gonna have to mark some spots. These do have pockets in them. Okay, these are fronts. Let me get a couple of my safety pins and mark them so we know those are the front ones. Okay, and then get one piece of your 8, one piece of your 9, and sew them up on this seam. Match your notches. And I'll be right back. And this will be a 5/8 seam allowance. So do both sets. Okay, then open up your seams. Iron them. And then we're going to sew around the U. So put them right sides together. And pin your seam first. And then match your notches. And then do a 5/8 around. And then probably about 6 inches, do about 3/8. And then you can just trim this up a little right in here. And I just take a little off. Okay, now we're going to put on the pockets. So we need to mark some spots. So get your front piece. That's what I'm doing first. And you will see your dots for your pockets. So just mark them. And I hope I'm going to be able to see them. This material's really dark. I have to get my white pen so I can see this. Okay. I might be able to see this a little bit better. Okay, so mark on both sides, or both pieces. And then get your back piece and do the exact same thing. Match up your notches. Okay, and mark them. Okay. And then get your back and do the exact same thing. And get your pockets, and with right sides together, match your dots. You're going to have to mark your pockets also. And then you are going to sew this 3/8. So mark your pockets. Get your pattern. And do this on all 4 pockets. Mark them. Oh, that's my white pen. No wonder I'm not seeing it. Okay. There we go. And then just put a pin through the hole and go through this dot and line it up. Okay. And do that to all 4. Okay, mine's right there. Okay, and I'll be back. Okay, then get your front piece. And have your seams towards your pocket. And you have your marks here. But you're going to square this. So you don't want to come over to the mark, but on this part of the pants, come down, or come over, come down, and back to this seam. And that will square your pants. Sorry, I'm in my pajama pants. And that will just make a nice finish. So when the pocket's sewn, you'll have a nice seam right here. And you just do that on your front. Good morning, everybody. We're just gonna keep going here. Make a dot on your pocket and draw a line. And you're gonna do 5/8 down to this line and then pick up and keep going down your whole leg. So just get everything pinned up and be sure you back stitch at your dots. And then after we get that sewn up, we will sew up our pockets. Just be sure everything is nice and even. Okay, so when you have that done, pin up your pockets and sew to your seam all the way around. Okay, once you have that done, you're going to clip. Let's see if I can get this back a little further. Right in here. Right in that little corner. I'm going to clip that, but I'm going to take my pinking shears and I'm going to go around my pocket. So you just snip a little right up here. And that's going to allow the pocket to move. Okay, then I'm just going to come back and I'm going to trim mine just a little, and I'll be right back. Okay. Then we're going to baste our pocket top to the top edge. So right here, we're just going to baste that. Now be sure you have your pocket going towards your front. You want it going towards the front. So get those basted up. And I'll be right back. Okay, we got that done. Okay, get a number 11. And we're going to have to put a little interfacing down where there's 2 buttonholes. Right here and right here. And that will be for the drawstring. So take one piece. Match up your notches. And let me see if I can find my white pin. Yeah, right here. And mark your notches or your buttonhole. I have to do it on the other side with my dart. Oh, there it is. Kind of hard to see, but okay, and you're gonna make 2 buttonholes, and I'll be right back. I just take a little piece of my interfacing, and I'll just sew that whole piece, or iron that whole piece down. Okay, and then go make your buttonholes. Okay, be sure you get your notches, even though they look the same. It'll be like upside down if you don't have your notches right. I'm gonna find a little bit smaller button than what I usually use, because this is just for the drawstring. So I think this one would be a little bit too big. So just find one that will give you that size opening. I always get a scrap piece of material and I make one first just to be sure it's working right and it's the size that I want. Okay, so I'm happy with this one. So go ahead and make your 2. And I always put a pin in where I want to start, and then I can line it up on my machine. Once you're done with that, just open them up. Here's mine. And just take your seam ripper and very slowly, I gotta find the seam ripper, open it up. Oh, here it is. So just poke, not right at the end, but a little further from it. And slowly just push through. And sometimes I'll take my little scissors, and once I get that little hole done, then I can actually just clip it open. So there I go. So get those done. Okay, there's a couple marks we have to make right on the left-hand side. And we're going to keep those open. That's for the casing to come through. So we're going to sew up each side, but at these dots, leave that open. Just take note that this opening is on the top and your buttonholes are on the bottom. Okay, with wrong sides together, we're going to iron this in half lengthwise. So get this turned around, and then we have to baste this edge all along. Get everything even. Where's my little... Okay, where your little hole is, that's the underside. So you just want to be sure that you got that on the underside when we start sewing it. So get this all ironed in half, and then we have to baste it. Fun thing about sewing, basting. Okay. Be sure your notches are lined up. And I'll get this done and baste mine, and then I will be right back. The next thing you're gonna do is slip this over your pants. So you have it like this. And match your notches. Get your front the right way. Let me see where my pins are. Oop, I almost did that backwards. Okay, here's my front. That's why I like having the pins. Okay, match your notches up in your center seam. Okay, get my pocket back over there. Okay, and start pinning this all around. Then we're gonna sew the 5/8 and then again like a 1/4 inch from your 5/8. So just match up everything and sew, and I'll be back. Everybody decided to mow their lawn today, so you might hear some lawn mowing going on. So just match up everything, and I'll be right back. Be sure, once you pin this in the front, be sure your buttonholes are in front. I almost did it the other way. I wasn't paying attention. So once you have this pinned, just check to be sure that your buttonholes are in front. I need to go down just a little. There we go. There we go. Oh, there's my notch right there. Okay, I marked it. Okay, so get that done. Be sure those seams are opened on the back of your pants. Okay, and then match your side seam and keep going around. Sure that your pocket is facing frontwards. You don't want it to face backwards. You want it frontwards. And just pin up all those layers. Alrighty, once you have that done, just check. Be sure you don't have any creases or bumps in your band. Okay, those look good. Okay, now I'm going to take my pinking shears and we're going to trim close to this line. We just want to take off some of that. You can pull your basting out also, because we are done with that. So let me find my, I never can find my knots where I started basting. So get that trimmed up. Then we're going to sew this band down. And then we have to cut elastic. And we run this through. Try on your pants though to adjust your elastic. So let me get this part done. And I will return. Okay, so once you get this done, get your pattern. And you're gonna line up your buttonholes. And mark each end where your casing line is gonna be. So let me get a ruler and I'll try to tell you about how far here. Let's see. Get those right on. Okay. All right, so the first casing line is going to be 1 inch. And then come down from that 3/4 of an inch. And you're gonna sew this line and that line, and that is where your elastic's gonna go. Now, if you see on the pants, once we get the drawstring, see you have some gathering up here. So that's all going to be gathered, and then your elastic will be here. Okay, so let me get that done. Okay, so I'm taking one of my magnetic seam guides that I have, and I have it down here at 1 inch. So I can just do that, and then I'll switch it for 3/4 coming down. It'll only be like 1/4 coming on this side. Okay, I got my first row done. It's hard to see because of the dark. And then I'm just going to measure 1 inch, which is going to essentially bring you like 1/8 from this seam. So just sew that up. And when you're done with these magnetic guide, get them off your machine, especially if you're computerized, because magnets aren't good for computers. So just get that off, as you know, when you get done with it. Got a little piece. And that's why they said to trim this as close as you can to that seam, because you will have like a little seam showing. And that's why I use pinking shears. And I could have gone a little bit closer, but I don't want to chance it. Material's too expensive these days. So get your other one done. I can pull out my safety pins now. I know that this is my front. So get that other seam, and then we have to do our elastic, our drawstring, and then our hem. So we're almost there. Okay, find your little notch here. Not notch, but our little hole. And start running your elastic through it. And then what you're gonna do is, once you get this through, put the pants on. And be sure that the elastic's not too tight or too loose. And then that way it's going to give you like a nice little ruffle part on the top of your pants. So just keep getting this through, and I'll be right back. You will probably hear my bird for a little bit. I had to keep my sewing room door open because my husband's outside, and I have to be sure I know he's okay. So you might hear some talking or words, and sometimes he has a potty mouth, and I apologize for that, but it is what it is. Okay, keep working this through. Okay, once you have it through, go try on your pants. And I kind of pin mine just a couple inches, few inches, so it doesn't slip back in. And then I'll try them on, and then I know exactly where I need to cut my elastic. Those are going to be cute. Okay, once you have that, just sew your elastic together. Remember, sew it this way and down each end. And that way, it'll stay really strong. These are going to be a little tight on me right in the butt area. So I'm going to I have my seam right here on my back. So I'm just going to take that little seam out, and I'm going to just sew it up just to give me a little bit more room. And these were a size 8. I figured they would be big enough, but they're little tiny. I mean, they fit, but they're a little tight. So I'm just gonna give myself a little extra room right in the fanny part right here. So I'll just pull this seam out and come off of here just like I did, and just kind of sew a smaller seam, probably where we did the 3/8 seam. I'll probably just catch that and take this seam out, and that way it'll give me just a little bit more fanny room. But you never can tell. So just get your elastic sewn. And I usually put my garment in the back like this. So my garment's hanging off, and I'll get my couple of my bars done. And then I can come around and then do my long way. And see, then I come back, and then I can do it this way. Okay, then you're gonna just tuck all this in and whip stitch this little hole closed. So just get it all put in there. I'm gonna have to push mine through a little. And then just whip stitch this closed. And I'm gonna fix this fanny part a little, and then we'll go on. Get your drawstring, and you have to sew these together. So match your notches on the end, and then you're gonna fold this lengthwise and sew it up. Now, I'm gonna see if I can do the needle trick again. I ordered a new turning thing, but it hasn't come yet. It's supposed to come today, but it hasn't yet. I'm gonna do it a little different than they have it. I'm gonna sew up my edge here, come down, and then I'm gonna leave an opening. And then I'm gonna try to turn this. That way you don't have to slip stitch your ends together. So and then keep sewing down and sew to this corner, you know, go boom, and all the way down. Then stop and leave yourself a little opening. Keep sewing down and come back to this corner. So and then I think I can turn it, and then I can just slip stitch this or machine sew this little area. It's not gonna show, so we'll get that done. And I did fix my pants, so I could still use a little, but it's all right. So all I did was stitch at my 3/8 seam. I did take this out so I could get the top piece, and then I just put those together, sewed it at the 3/8, and then I just sewed my band back. I think the next time I might make a 10. They might be too baggy, and I'll be taking them in. So You just have to play around with them. All the patterns are different. So, all right, let me get my drawstring done, and I'll be right back. Okay, so if you're gonna do it the way I said, just be sure you back stitch on each end of your little seam. And then I'm just gonna take a chopstick and I'm gonna put this right side. Okay, so once you have that done, I'm just gonna go press mine, and then I'll just sew up my little hole here. And that way you don't have to try to tuck in your end pieces and then whip stitch them. So you can just take a pin like I am, and I'm just pushing out my corners. That one's pretty good. All right, so I'm just gonna go press, and then I'll just turn this under, and I'll just sew up that little piece. Then we're gonna take a safety pin and put it through the pants. So I'll be right back. We got that done, so just get a safety pin, go through one buttonhole to the next one, and get that through. And this is a prime example why I don't really like to trim my seams till I'm finished, because that way if they don't fit, then I can take the seam out or in. So sometimes it says, you know, trim it. Don't trim it, because if you run into a problem, it's easier to have that whole seam than it is having just a little of it. So get this through, and then I think we're at the cuff, or the bottom, where we have to put a couple buttonholes through again. But these are cute pants. I just wish I had made them just a little bit bigger. I guess I'll start walking again, try to lose a little fatness. Okay, let me get these through and I'll be right back. Okay, that part's done. I usually put a little knot in mine so it doesn't go through the buttonhole when they're going through the wash. So you can just make a little knot on them. And I just do that. So there's your front part. There's my back. Okay. Okay, get your pattern on your front side. And you have 2 marks to make. Right here is your buttonhole mark. And then you have a mark over here. But don't make your buttonhole yet. Let me put that out of there. Do that a little sloppy. Okay. Buttonhole and dot. And do that to the other. Now you can place a piece of interfacing where your buttonhole is going to go. And I'll just have to mark these again. Because of my heat pin. Okay, we're almost finished. We need to press 1/4 of an inch up. And then we're gonna fold this, I think it's 1 3/4 up. And then we're gonna have to make a fold line. There'll be a fold line so it'll look like your button is, you know, coming over like this, but it's still open. It's like a flap. Okay, so get 1/4 inch pressed up first, and I'll be right back. Okay, on here it's giving you 1 3/4 inch hem allowance. Because we've already done the 1/4, I'm gonna do a half. 1 1/2. And I'm gonna pin it right there. Press and pin. Okay, now what you're gonna do is press this 1/4 inch, stitch it down all along. And then when you come back, get your pattern. And there is a fold line. So mark your fold line. And it's gonna be partly folded on your buttonhole, but it's gonna make it look like this. So on the outside, but your buttonhole is going right here. So I'm gonna have to mark mine again. But at least get this sewn up. I gotta turn my other one over 1/4 of an inch and then 1 1/2 inches, and sew your legs up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so before you sew these up, measure to be sure that your legs are the same length. So sometimes I do it just this way from so I'll just take my pants and fold it right where the crotch is and come up. I pulled out my pin right there, and just measure to be sure that you're hitting the same amount, or the same length, not amount. Okay, let me get these sewn up. Then we're gonna press our fold line, make our buttonhole, and then sew our button on. Let me get these done. Okay, let me see if I can explain this. You have your buttonhole right here. So that's marked. On your pattern, there is a fold line. So the fold line is right here. And so this is the fold line. So you have to fold that up. And some of the buttonhole is gonna be made with this underneath it. So then, once you get that done, you have this flap, and then you're gonna sew a button And that will make it look like that. If you like them this way, just leave them that way. But I'm going to put the, because they are like the short kind of pants. So I'm going to do it that way. So here's my button, and here's my fold. And that's the fold line. So like I said, some of your buttonhole is going to get in the way of I don't know if it says it actually sews some of it. Let me check. Okay. Yeah, it says stitching partly through fold. And that's what it looks like on the instructions. There's your fold, and it's going like through your buttonhole. So let me get mine marked up again, and I will do this, and then we are done. Well, we have to sew on the button, and then we're done. So there's my fold line. Let me get this right. That's front, okay. All right, so there's my buttonhole, or buttonhole mark. And here's my fold line right here. So just mark that. Bring this up and make your buttonhole. Just got to be sure that we don't get all right. There's my fold. Okay. Be sure you have your buttonhole on the outside of your pants. As I'm saying, on the side of the pocket, that's where you want this flap, not in the inner, on the outer part, just to be sure. It would be awful if you made one and it was on the wrong side. All right, let me get this done. Okay, everybody, here's the outfit. I know it's hard to see, but there's the shirt, and I got the pants. It helped taking out that seam a little. I think the next time I'll make a 10 and then just have to take it up instead of letting out. But yeah, so that was N6704. New look. And tomorrow I'll figure out something. We have all the patterns down here, you know, that I got at Hobby Lobby. So I'll try to figure one out. There's a few shirts I really like. So, you know, there's this one, that, we did that one. There's that. So yeah, I have 68 patterns to go through, and I'll figure out which one to do. But thank you for staying with me and watching the video. And I hope you like, share, and subscribe. Thumbs up, please. It'll help. The channel's growing, and I'm excited about that. And please subscribe. It's free. It's just going to help the channel. And I just saw this one. So this is $64.83. So I think I'm going to make this tomorrow. So we'll do that one tomorrow. And that's about it. So you all have a great Sunday. Again, thank you for spending some time with me. And I will see you tomorrow.